Katie, I can't hear the music.
Can you hear it now?
Yes. It just went off again. Hey, Katie, don't hear any music. Oh, Katie. Hey, Katie, let's get going. We can just, we'll do one. We'll do one. Thanks, Katie. Since everybody's here.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Just kind of figuring this out as we go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight for our 26th Speaker and Music Series event. Very excited about this one. This is a great turnout so far. So I just can tell that everyone's excited about our theme tonight, which is all things Holoa, with two incredible cultural leaders. We've got Bobby Pahia of Hawaii Taro Farm. He's also our interim president for Mauna Kaho'awai chapter. We also have Kavevehi Pundaik of Lo'iloa in Iao Valley.
Yep.
So incredible chat tonight. We're going to talk about Taro. We're going to talk about lots of different things. I'm going to pass things off to our president, Vincent Mina. But before I do, if you have any questions for any individual tonight, please post it in the chat feature. Please post to everyone so that we can all see it and we can all get into that Q&A probably towards the end of our chat tonight. I am Katie Zuber. I don't remember if I said my name. I do membership and communications for HFUU. If you ever have any questions, comments, ideas, things you want to share with other members, questions about what HFUU does and how we can better serve you as a farmer or beginning farmer or gardener, or just individual in Hawaii, please email me. My email is hfuu@hfuu.org. I'll put that in the chat feature. Please make sure you're following us on social media. It's HFUU Official for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then on YouTube, we are just Hawaii Farmers Union United. So yes, make sure you've got my email down and that you're receiving our emails. You should be getting one from me every Wednesday morning, bare minimum. I try to send a couple a week. So yes, hats off to you, Vincent Mina, our organization president. We'll get kickstarted this incredible special evening.
Katie, I get so tickled when I hear you talking about the organization and the great job that you're doing. Truly, it's being there in Hana. You just do such a great job bringing the whole organization into one ohana, of communication. So thank you so much for your diligence and all the effort you put in. It's truly appreciated. And you do that as you're breastfeeding a baby too. So it's kind of like, oh my God,
As I get my status for the third time, yes.
So thanks to Ali. He's there. He's our youngest member, and right on. And your supportive husband, Craig. This is really a great family that gives so much to our organization. So thank you, Katie. So, Bobby, Kaveve, aloha, you guys. Aloha. Two of my favorite human beings here. And let's see, we can't get all three. Oh, there we go. Good, perfect. So, gentlemen, please, good to see you both. It's always good to see you. And I feel so honored that we can do this tonight and just have a chance to do what we do a lot, talk story with one another about what's going on in the agricultural realm. And so please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves to our family here. Kaveve, you want to start off?
Okay, sure. Hello, I'm Kaveve Pundaik from Lo'iloa. Thank you, Vince, for inviting me here tonight and being able to share a little bit with the Hui in that sense. And, for me, I just was thinking about it a little bit and actually a lot of the stuff the growing kalo, when I first started growing kalo is due to Bobby. He was growing kalo up in Kula. And so I used to go help every now and then. And so I was able to glean a lot of stuff from him. So I'm very thankful and he's been doing it for so long. Lo'iloa is a ili in Iao Valley. It's pretty much the last stop when you're going into the valley, actually, traditionally. And we actually had opened a few lo'i in Lo'iloa a few years back. Got into the water fight. And so those lo'is are not flooded at this time, but still holding on to the hope that we will flood it again one day. For the time being, we're doing a lot of board and stone. So trying to put one in as many homes as we can.
Yeah.
It's the demand is great. I guess I'll just say it like that. There's a lot of need, want, desire. So we're doing our best to to fill those homes up. So thanks again for letting me be a part of this tonight.
That's beautiful. Looking forward to us going more in depth with all of that, and you know, the water fight that you're talking about, Nial. We can talk some more about that too. Bobby, go ahead. Hello, my brother.
Brother, hey, yep, my name is Bobby Pahia. I love to grow kalo and been doing it for a little while. And yeah, and you know, I try and help other farmers farm, give them a break and help them farm.
Well, let's talk. Let's just jump into that, Bobby. And you know, talk some about your farm there, Hawaii Taro Farm, and what you're doing over there, and how many farmers you have in there, and please just give us some background on that.
Yeah, Hawaii Taro Farm is about you know, a little over a 300-acre parcel that I lease from the landowners of pretty much almost all of Waikuku, which is the owners of the Maui Tropical Plantation. The good thing about it is that these developers really decided to turn almost 900 acres into a conservation easement. And I was lucky enough to get like a 300-acre parcel to farm. And, you know, we took over the old HNS water system. That was a challenge, but it's also a blessing too. You learn how to run water in like large volumes. And pretty cool. I get like over 20 farmers down there now.
Wow.
From hog farmers to goat farmers to natural regenerative farming activity to a guy who's 90 years old and grows. He has a certified organic moringa farm down there. So you know, it's you know, it's not only about helping the young guys. You know,
That's right.
You know, gotta help the makuas too. I mean, these makuas been in a fight long time, and he's just a testimony to like how hard it is to get land and water, because this guy been over here a long time, and to get land and, you know, security in land and water is big in farming, you know, as you know, all farmers know.
And then you have a pastor down there, yeah, a Samoan pastor growing cassava for his congregation, and yeah, and
yeah, that's really cool. One I guess a bishop, well, I don't know his title, but you know, one of the leaders in the church.
right.
He got like, yeah, that's really cool. He's got like 6 acres and he's growing cassava and taro and some sweet potato, and he grows it all for his congregation. I mean, he doesn't even sell it. He just like gives it out to the needy over in his community.
Beautiful. What a testament, yeah. And you're doing a lot of that yourself, Bobby, and you know, really appreciate how much you've raised the whole vibration of taro. I mean, I would love Uncle Harry Mitchell to be able to come down to the farm and be able to see what you're doing. You know, back in the day, he would have just loved the leadership that you're showing today. It's kind of a continuing on that Johnny Appleseed of Holoa, you know. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I just want to make one thing clear, Vince, as we move forward in our discussions. You know, I have a lot of knowledge and experience working with you know, dryland type of taros growing in a mala,
Right.
Dryland garden style. Now, the other side of growing kalo, of course, as we know, is growing in the lo'i. Right. So, you know, I cannot speak as knowledgeable for those that farm in the lo'i, because that's a different. It's yes. That's a whole different ball game.
That's right.
So, you know, what I share, of course, I stand on the shoulders of our kupuna who came before us, for sure. and I can share what I've garnered over a pretty lengthy period of time. Um, I just was in the right place at the right time to garner this knowledge of tarot and stuff.
And so, like both you gentlemen, I know your wives, and they play an instrumental role in your activities and in all that you're doing. And it's like 1+1 = 3. Yeah, I mean, it's our wives are amazing in that spirit, and I know I can speak for myself too. Without Irene, it's like, man, this is just untenable. The amount of energy they all put out towards this and their love for it all. I know Kaveh, back in the day when we did our body and soil conferences, we had you come in and did the opening chant for those conferences, you and Hanalei. And so we go back in the spirit of the importance of this relationship between our bodies and the soil. And tarot plays such an instrumental role. So what excites me about it is in your work in getting boards and stones into the houses of everyone is that bridge you're building, between as the tarot is being grown, and Bobby, in your work and growing that tarot and abundantly. I mean, I was so tickled to come down to your farm and see the alleyways you have planted with Sudan grass on the outside and the taro in the middle. And you were saying it's like 6,000 pounds of taro you'll be able to, or is it 2,000 pounds of taro you'll be able to harvest from that sector, and to do it in a way that provides that kind of alley cropping approach. Could you talk a little bit about that, please?
Well, I'll tell you what, as long as I've been growing taro, I still trying to figure out what's the best way.
Yeah.
You're always learning. You never arrive.
That's right.
Because especially when you produce in a little larger scale, everything comes into play, right? The cost of water, the cost of labor, the cost of all of this. So, there's always the best way to do it, but then, you got to look at your own capacity and work within your own capacity. And it's always a learning deal, and Vince, I got to say that since I did, cross the line as far as using synthetic fertilizers and pesticides and all of that, it's really good to see what's happening in the soil with the practices.
Yes.
There's a marked difference.
Beautiful.
So, it's for a farmer to feel like when I go into a field and I prep a field and I grow the crop, and then after we harvest the crop, you really get to look at the soil very closely because you're pulling it out. So you're getting to take a look at the soil. So what's encouraging is that, the soil, I leave the soil in better condition when I leave than when I first get there.
Beautiful.
And right, I mean, that's aloha aina.
That's right.
That's malama aina. When you can say that, then you're doing something good. You're doing something mono.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Bobby. And that whole bridge that I was talking about, after because right now you're building a haliku'i, to be able to pound on the property, and having Kaveh, hold these workshops to where he can teach folks how to make the stone and how to make the board, and empowering people as part of that they're empowered to have this part of their daily life, part of their cultural experience in living, that they could know how to pound the taro after it's cooked, and to be able to eat the pa'iai and teach their families the importance of that. I mean, it's huge. Kaveh, please, from your point of view, could you just share some of that cultural experience?
Well, for Lo'iloa, for us, the board and stone is really an extension of what we were doing in Iao, which was working with youth and working with families in a family strengthening type of deal. And since
that was with the police department, right? Excuse me, but that was that was
Yeah.
trouble use right at a critical point in their age, whether if they didn't come to your program, they'd be going to jail, right? Kind of thing.
Well, they were getting into a lot of trouble, so this was a diversion type program to try to steer them back into the right path, and
Right on.
if you
Right on.
will. So to that end, what I would see is these youth that would be excited about being in the Lo'i or doing this kind of thing, and then we would invite them. Hey, so you like cultural stuff? Would you want to make a board and a stone? And a lot of times they would want to. We're not working with the youth anymore due to the bridge still being damaged.
Yes.
That
Right.
crosses over to Lo'iloa. But
Right.
we've been hitting the board and stone pretty hard for the last few years, and what we've incorporated different things as time has gone on. I used to get the same questions from the participants that made the Papa and Pohaku all the time. It was about planting, it was about harvesting, cooking, kind of hila hila or a little bit shame because they're maybe Kanaka, but they don't know how to ku'i. So what we've done is we've incorporated a little ku'i when we make the pohakus, because it's a little shorter day, so we can include the ku'i. And what we try to do is
And the ku'i is the pounding, yeah.
is the pounding of the kalo, yes.
Mhm.
And what we try to do is, if we have, we try to give some huli, and so that they can plant and begin that relationship with Haloa and begin that malama aina. So if they put one in the ground, one in the pot, hey, that's great because they're starting that relationship. And and then I always kind of pitch Bobby, if they want to get more kalo, and then I let them know that, hey, you don't have to eat it all in one day. You can put some of that in the freezer and just take it out on a regular basis. And it seems to be working really well.
Oh,
So we're like a little introducer, and Bobby, is hitting home runs all the time.
good.
So it's a great thing because we're able to expose people to different varieties of kalo at the end of the gig. We made a little booklet with the frequently asked questions, and we also have the names of the parts of the Papa Ku'iai and the Pohaku Ku'iai, just so that they can just affirm those names and for the uses and all of those kind of things. So it's been working out really great. In fact, this last workshop we gave out some huli and even gave out some uala shoots, some pula pula for sweet potato. So it's just about trying to do a little part. And that's really what Bobby has kind of been doing for a long time, is sharing that stuff. So it's been great that we can do a little bit of it as well.
Well, you two are, from my point of view and experience, are amazing leaders. And I hear you both say try. You never try. You guys doing it, man. You're in the trenches doing it, and it's heartwarming for me that you're so involved in HFUU and seeing HFUU as an organization that is aligning with the tenets and aligning with the mana'o of what the culture represents in a whole system of agriculture, And so, Bobby, you talked about that transition from using synthetics to more regenerative practices and the differences you're seeing in the soil. One of the experiences we had early on there, remember when we had the trials, when we did the side-by-side trials up on when you were Malka, of the highway, and how at the end when we harvested and we used the KNF, the Korean Natural Farming amendments, and we harvested both the conventional and the KNF taro, and how they were both the commercial, the synthetic one was bigger in size than the KNF. And I remember taking them home and letting them sit on the counter for a couple weeks, and how the KNF held its weight, whereas the conventional shrunk and losing its water. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah, Bob.
I'm most definitely, Vince, I know you always talk about, nutrition value.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just today I was reading some studies about the in our fruits in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
It's more than 50%.
Wow.
Less nutrients. So if you have to eat one apple in 1950, and today you got to eat 5 apples.
Wow.
To get the same nutrients.
Apple a day doesn't keep the doctor away anymore, huh?
Not that kind of apple.
Right. Right.
So, it's from that time of that experiment, I've been doing my own experiments, and I got Winsome guys down there, and they're doing all their experiments, and with natural farming and all kind,
cover crops.
So,
and, yeah.
The whole thing, no-till, cover crop, mulch, no fertilizer.
Right.
So, for me, I told her to do this trial a couple more times, because the results are coming out unbelievable.
That's wonderful.
They're coming out. So, because the bottom, when you're doing production farming, the bottom line is the cost of production, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So,
you
can eliminate all those costs and get a high quality kalo, then hello, right?
Yep. That's the whole rub, lowering our inputs as farmers and the production costs as you talk of it, and this is a big thing for sure.
It is a big thing, because production farmers, they're all about the bottom line.
It's got to be.
What I mean? If we're going to have an impact on, like say all my neighbors that, not all my neighbors, because most of them is all, they're all natural organic farmers, but there's 1 or 2 neighbors that, they're conventional type of farmers. And the only way that I'm going to get their attention, because they want to know what's the cost of production, right? Because all they care about is the bottom line.
That's
and,
right.
Talk about transition. I mean, I used to farm, with synthetics and all the worst things you can think of. But you know what I mean? My motive was profit based.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and I've always said this, Vince, is that your practices will reveal your values. Right. And also your values will reveal your practices.
Yeah,
So, it's the transition was tough, man.
Yep.
It's hard, because you get so used to, you come from a school of training that's, you've been ingrained in, and then to change it.
That's right. Takes fortitude.
It takes fortitude. Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Fortitude. Yeah. It takes fortitude, and it takes grit, man. You can't give up.
That's right.
You just got to keep on keeping on, and it happens. It's like, it's hard for me to argue with Winsome guys, their data, right?
That's right.
I mean, you know what I mean? No fertilizer, no
till,
cover crop,
right.
Right. So I said, well, girl, do that one more time. And I want to see the data again. So, but you know what I mean? It's having that latitude and giving people that opportunity to express themselves, right? Especially in the regenerative movement.
That's right.
If they don't have that opportunity, it's very difficult for people to highlight the importance of it.
Yes. So Bobby, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful, man. You know, as far as varieties of taro, you know, I hear, I know Uncle Jerry Konanui, and bless his soul, when he was alive with Penny Levin, they were doing a lot of documentation on the different varieties of taro. And how many are there, Hawaiian varieties, or that you know of, or that you're growing? Could you speak a little bit about some of the differences in the varieties so folks could have a better understanding of the law?
Well, at one time we had over 250 Hawaiian varieties.
Wow.
I'd be pressed to say if anybody has more than 70 varieties, which would be like a collection, like at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens, like Nomea Hosino, he does that, right? But it's at one time I grew all the Hawaiian varieties, but you know, you have that much varieties and then it multiplies, right? So you got to have the land, you got to have the capacity to do it. So basically what I did was just choose the very best, the ones that I liked,
Mm-hmm.
and kept that. Now that was a challenge in itself, but I didn't know it at the time, because you can choose varieties that you prefer, and then you go to another place and farm, it's going to be different.
Oh, okay.
So every place you take that variety, it's probably there's going to be a small difference.
Different
The taste,
elevation, different
yeah,
soil. Yep.
everything.
Right.
So you know, it's down Laka here now for like almost 5 years now. Actually, it's been 5 years.
5 years now? Oh
And
my gosh.
yep. And I've grown many varieties, right? But
Right.
the deal is that the ones that belong there will reveal themselves to you.
Nice.
And that's how the Hawaiian, our kupunas was in past, right? Because in certain areas, this is the variety they grew. So you got to ask yourself, why was that? Why
Right.
was it this variety? And I believe they did the natural selection process. They probably grew the same thing as I did, grew several varieties and see which one acclimated to that area and which
Yep.
one did well and which
Absolutely.
one appealed to their taste.
That's
And
right.
that's the one they grew.
Well, that's the
Right. So
beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about us Mahi'ai is that, you know, we're able to, in being with our farm like that, we're able to see what we're looking at. And the elders would do that. They would a lot of observation, yeah, a lot of time to observe and yeah, yeah.
you know, you get to know someone, right? If you spend enough time with them. Right?
That's right. That's
Same
right.
with Akalo.
Hey,
You
hey,
know,
jump in.
you know, um, you know what Bobby is doing with the different varieties too is really great because it lets people know that there's not, when they say, oh, they want some kalo or they want some poi, it's not only, oh, I like the purple one. You know, this past Saturday we had some kalo from Penny Levin. We had some moi,
Oh,
so
nice.
they got to kui some moi. So we've had them do you know, mana ulu, mana lauloa, you know, maui lehua, all these different varieties. We just had a kui for la hoi hoi ea, and and I got 3 different varieties from Bobby. I think it was Elele Naioea, Mana Ulu, and Pico Uawa, and that, you know, just to expose um, others to the different varieties, the different colorations, the different flavors, um, just to expose people to that so they can have their selection process and say, hey, I like that one, and you know, and get some huli and plant that and see how it works out in their location, you know, and that's all part of getting back to the aina, getting involved. That's malama aina, and let it grow from there, and let our children, you know, have that relationship at a younger age than I had. So it's really nice to see, farmers with a lot of different varieties that gives people the opportunity to really see what grows best in their locale.
Yes.
And along with hey, what does my palate like? So that's I really like that. It's good stuff.
And that's beautiful, share, man. You guys will appreciate tomorrow. I'm going to be going to Hana, and we're doing a cardboard shredding at Mahele Farm, and so Mikala, he's got a number of varieties growing there, and he's got some young leaders working that taro, working that mala, and when you speak of the names, like you just went over several of the names, and it was like poetry coming off your tongue, and it's music too, and so there's this artistry of what that represents in agriculture, and as the word agriculture is speaks to the importance of it being a cultural experience. So that I've been of the ilk when I was working with Uncle Harry Mitchell, was that I felt that if the taro industry, if just taro, all the lo'i, for instance, was planted out, and agriculture was such an important aspect of Hawaii's economic engine, and just taro was honored in a way, people would, and it was doing well, people would then notice, in the spirit of really understanding how agriculture is an essential component, and it has to be an essential component to hear Hawaii Nei, and so I just, your work, both your gentlemen, both your work, you guys, I just have total respect and appreciation for, because it's essential, and you're bringing in a lot of young people into this, and that's our future, of course, and I just really, I'm so heartened by it all. Talk to me from your heart, from your mana'o, about what this all means to you in your lifetime to have this experience, and what you want to see going forward for the younger generation stepping up.
Well, for me, um, I don't know. I just look at Bobby as like the OG. He was there doing it before me, and I just was thinking about something Jerry Kononui used to always say, because people ask me the same thing. Oh, what is when we got three varieties? Oh, what is the best one? What did Jerry always say? The one on the table is the best one.
That's right. That's Jerry.
But but for me, especially as this board and stone, this Papa Ku'iai and Pohaku Ku'iai, as it's moving forward, one of my board members, my past board members, used to say, you know, it's something special to hear the stone and the board pounding, but it shouldn't be something special. It should be something that is a normal sound, something that we're hearing all the time. And if we can get Papa and Pohaku into homes, then it will be a more normal sound, something that we're hearing on a regular basis. And I really see it as family strengthening, because if you're gonna go ku'i, we're gonna go ku'i on Saturday, then you gotta cook the kalo, and then you gotta clean the kalo. So if we're all sitting down around the table or the cooler, and we're cleaning kalo, and we're talking with our kids, and we're talking with our mo'opuna, uh, and we're just having a conversation, that's the world, because we're communicating, no pressure, and then we're gonna ku'i, and then we're gonna eat, and we're eating healthy, we're eating what Haloa has provided for us. So I kind of see it as we're giving the next generation an opportunity to have the tools for it to be a normal practice, a normal way of life, where it's kind of almost hopefully unconscious, because hey, maybe every week we're going ku'i or what have you. I had one of my participants, he made a board and stone, and that New Year's, the focus for his extended family was Wigon Ku'i. So his grandkids, his in-laws, you know, his children, everybody was cooking for New Year's. So I just thought that was so great. This it's something that kind of, it's almost like the thing that's revitalizing uh
Families, yeah.
the family. So for me, that's kind of where it's all at this point, and it's a good thing. It's a good feeling.
Right on. I always see the smiles, big smiles, man. You know, and you're posting all these pictures of them making their boys a big kind smile, reconnecting with their roots, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Bobby?
Yeah, I wanted to point out something that Kavehi Vehi, um, Kavehi Vehi and I, we both do. And my deal about number one to growing the kalo was, my goal was always to see more poi on people's tables. Because like I've said before, when I was growing up, always had one big bowl poi at everybody's house you went. All my tutus, my uncle, my auntie, everybody.
Mm,
As I got older, those that bowls started disappearing.
mm,
I never see too much bowls poi on the table no more.
mm,
And then it even got worse. Now we're only eating poi at luau's.
mm.
That no can. So I had to ask myself, how come? How come no more? How come no more poi? And then you learn about economics, right? And we find out that number one, no more supply, no more enough supply,
Right.
no more enough taro growing. Number one, and then because of the economic chain that is attached to this production line, it becomes too expensive for a to go to the store and go buy enough poi to feed his family on a regular basis.
Wow.
So my goal was always try and get poi into people's houses and onto their tables. And me and my wife, we always said, how are we going to do that? Well, number one, right? You got to make them affordable. You got to make them affordable. So our deal was like, okay, we can grow them. If I can sell I can, like, for example, today I sell my organic kalo, $3 a pound.
Wow.
Some guys tell me, oh, that's high. I tell them, no, you got to know cost of production, and you got to realize you got to support your farmer.
That's right.
You got to support your farmer, and I can justify the cost. But number one, my first goal is to try and get somebody to grow their own,
That's right.
grow your own kalo. That's the cheapest way you're gonna be able for you. You gotta grow them. Number one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
if you don't like grow them, you know more time, you know more. Then I tell you what, more better you buy them from. More better you buy them from me. I'm gonna sell them to you $3 a pound, because I tell you what, I know because of the way I grow it now, that when you gonna take that 1 pound for $3 and you're gonna steam them, and you can use a champion juicer, you can cool them, whatever. I know you're gonna make more than 1 pound poi.
That's right.
Guaranteed.
That's right.
Probably if Ulika guaranteed 2 pounds. So now I just got you 2 pounds of tick poi for $3. $1.50 a pound.
That's
But
right.
you're buying them from me. That's not my goal.
Right.
But you can buy them from me. Right? So that's the least expensive. That's the only way I can get people for eat. I can give you huli. I can talk huli. You go grow your own taro. You go make your own. You go make your own poi. But another aspect that I wanted to cover is this: what I do in my little cultural Hawaiian trip that I try and perpetuate the culture is by keeping these kalos alive
Yes.
and teaching people about it, all the idiosyncrasies of each variety, how to identify, what does it taste like? Because you know why? 100 years ago, we had over 250 varieties. today, lucky if you can find 70. Now, I don't like my mo'opunas one day say, oh, what happened to all the taro? We only get 3 varieties left. See, so my kuleana is to keep on growing as much varieties of kalo I can and teaching people how to grow them, how to identify them. And that's my little kuleana. And I tell you what Kawevei does with the pohakus and the papakuiais and the pohakukuiais and the papakuiais, that's another aspect of perpetuating our culture because that is lost. You don't see plenty guys like Kawevei going around showing people how to make stone and board.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So that's one art that's being perpetuated right there. Part of our Hawaiian culture that we can keep alive.
Yep. Yep.
And that's our kuleana.
And it's a beautiful kuleana in the spirit that you're living it. You're not just talking about it. You're in the trenches. You know, when we were talking about practices and the growing of it, could you just give people an overview of when you put that huli in the ground, you know, what they're looking for? I know, you know, the plant grows up, it comes back down, you know. Talk about the process of from planting to harvest that people can have a better idea. So when they do get these huli, they know that it needs to callus before they put it in the ground, or, you know, just those fine points of being able to have a successful experience.
Make sure you put them in the ground. Stick them in the ground. That's the first thing. Stick them in the ground. And if you can, bury them about 6 to 8 inches. And kalo is a resilient plant. Just like the kanaka. He's resilient. Very basic. Give him some food, some water, some sunshine, and some love. And it's going to be all G.
So when it comes up tall and it's looking great.
Yeah, okay. So you plant your okay, number one, everybody understand, right? When you take the sucker from the makua plant, that's an oha, right? So when you cut it, the cormel off and prepare it, now it became a huli because it had changed now.
Right.
Right. So now you're gonna plant it. You in the first 3 months, you're just talking rapid growth.
Now, Bobby, when you cut, hey, Kalamai, when you cut it from the corm, how much of the corm are you leaving on the huli? About a quarter inch.
There's different schools on that.
Okay.
I try and cut it about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
Below where the perio meets the cormel. In other words, where the stem meets the taro.
Right.
Cut it right below that.
Okay.
So, you know, in about 4 months, it's going to start forming a taro.
Okay.
Right. So month 4, 5, 6, you know, then you're going to see a tremendous growth in month 4 and 5, 6, and then you're going to see a decline. The plant is going to start. Food is going to start being concentrated in the corm,
right,
in the tuber.
Right.
So it's taking the energy from your rapid growth, your apical growth, and now it's focusing the food source back to the corm.
Nice.
Now the other thing is, my wife, she like her poi sweet. So I gotta harvest the kalo beyond old. I gotta harvest them late, right? But the thing only good for one night. So if you like sweet poi, plan to eat them and have a sweet poi for one night, because the next day gonna be lowly, gonna turn water, and gonna be not gonna be good.
So that's another point then too, as far as eating the poi. You know, a lot of all cultures have their fermented foods, and I know I love sour poi. You know, Hawaiians, that would be part of their fermented foods. Yeah, and I know my mother-in-law, she loves sour poi. Um, and so that's one aspect. So when you're saying you're growing it longer, you're talking about 7 months, pretty much harvest time, and then
Well,
you go a little longer or for sweet,
it depends on your variety, right? Every
right?
variety is different.
Okay,
So you got to know your customer, right? What is your customer looking for? Is he a guy that cuis? Because if he kui, he gonna like ulika kan kalo, starchy kind. If you gonna make kulolo, I don't care. I give him the old one because he gonna throw sugar in them anyway, right? So no matter.
Olika is younger,
It's gummy, like
Gummy.
starchy,
gummy,
starchy.
gummy and starchy. Okay,
So
right,
every variety is different. And then
right,
depending on your customer, right? Like maybe like one lehua, like one Maui lehua, not as gummy as one mana lauloa, right? So, but let's say that's the only thing I get in my patch. And one guy like kui, but I only get lehua. Well, guess what? I gotta pull my lehua early
hmm,
because when you pull them early, you get high starch content,
I see.
right? So as you let them get older, the starch turn into sugar. That's where you get the sweet. But
I
if you
see.
like a long shelf life, right? You like depending on the taro, you like harvest them and get high starch content that way. But the old timers they don't like that because the thing was sour, take long time sour because no more sugar.
Right,
So it depends on who's your market. If you're marketing kalo or poi inside the supermarket, you don't like that kind of taro because the bug gonna sour fast. That's the problem today with the growers today, right? They're all in it for the dollar. So they grow them to the max, come big, but too old already. No
right,
more sugar. That's why
right.
the poi sour quick in the store. When you pick up the poi, oh, 2, 3 days, oh, sour.
Right,
Which the kupunas they like, but if you like,
right.
if you like, if you like long shelf life, you gotta know your variety, so you know when for pull them because all different
Yes,
and depending
yes.
on your customer.
So there's that sweet spot then between the starch and the sugar that
Like
you're
me,
you're
I like mine sweet sour,
right,
right between sweet and right before sour. I like them
right,
sweet sour. But you
right.
gotta know your color. You gotta know your color. When for hooky, forget
That's
that
right.
sweet sour.
That's right. That's right. That's beautiful. I love it. So, so how much of a time frame then are you looking at? I know it's variety specific, but normally there's a window, right? Different varieties, what, 7 to 9 months, or is that pretty much a window that you look at in growing?
I say an average is you say 9 months because if you grow natural organically, it goes its natural process. If you
Right.
use synthetic fertilizers, it expedites the growing process so you can harvest it earlier.
Hmm.
So what I found once I started growing all organically and natural, the thing takes its full term.
Hmm.
It's not like how I used to grow them before with synthetics.
Right.
It's a different. It changes everything. It reverts back to its natural state, which is about 9 months average.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, Kaveve,
Mm-hmm.
what do you find when you're kui, when you're doing, what varieties do you feel that you find are really advantageous to that practice?
Well, it's if you get Carlo from Loi, you normally it's all good.
Mm,
But like Bobby was saying, if you when you get Carlo from the Mala, it has to be harvested at the right time if you're gonna use something like a Maui Lehua. The mois, the manas, the Nioea, those are more ulika. Those are more dense, more gummy. So those are more forgiving. And so my experience has been that those could be very well, um, you know, but I've cooked Mawe before and it was fine. I've cooked uh, Mawe and it was kind of wet, so so but that's the gamut. So a little bit too much water, but like he was saying, right? If it's over the starch, the sugar content is higher, and so it's just a little bit tougher to kui. But steaming also has something to do with it. Also, as far as that water content. But my experience, like I said, has been that from the lo'i, it's usually a little more ulika, a little more. It's easier to kui a lot of times, but those mono varieties, the moi stuff like that from Mala is great. So
And that's really good. And you brought up a point about steaming. I know in cooking it, the oxalic acid is a piece that needs to be paid attention to, so no more itchy. Um,
mhm.
talk to us about both of you guys about your cooking process. What you find is a way that really works well.
Well, I use a pressure cooker normally for my workshops because I'm making 15 to 20 pounds. I'm not making a really large batch, so I use a All American pressure cooker.
Hmm.
So the All American, you can adjust the poundage. So I've been cooking at 10 pounds, and I wait till the pressure hits that 10 pounds, and then I usually count about an hour, depending on variety, hour 15 minutes, in that range, and I'm usually good. If I'm gonna steam 150, 200 pounds, then I use my bigger steamer, not a pressure cooker, and I usually steam that for 4 hours, and
Wow.
then I turn it off and I just let it go until the morning. When it's still warm, but that's pretty much how I've been doing it, for us.
And in changing the water, did you change the water at all during that process?
No,
Okay.
no.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And there's no more itchy, no more problem with the oxalic acid.
Um, no, I haven't really had any of that problem. Um, you just gotta gauge it. If and sometimes, and even I'll steam it frozen. I'll
Hmm.
take it out of the freezer and I'll put it in the steamer or the pressure cooker. Um, and I'll go for it like that too. And it's fine. So sometimes when people come to our workshop, I said, hey, buy the 50-pound bag. It's all good. Just eat what you're gonna eat, freeze the rest, and pull out two or three kalo, however much you want, as time goes on, and it's fine. It's just like brand new out of the ground.
So you're
So
freezing it after you cook it, or you freezing it
no, freezing it raw.
raw? Right. Okay. Okay. Wow, that's cool, man. Never did that before. Bobby, you have any particular ways that you like prepare or you find in preparation?
Well, you know, some guys steam them with the skin on. Some guys steam them without the skin on.
Hmm.
Um, my wife steams it without the skin on. We peel it,
Yeah, yeah.
then cut it up in chunks, and then steam it. She normally steams it in her steamer like 3 hours, and then lets it cool off overnight. Um, yeah, and you know, my wife is very particular about her poi,
That's good.
and she's the one who makes the poi.
Right.
So I don't argue.
Good choice.
It's just
Right, that's right. Just eat the boy. Well, I had experience of at one of the Waihuli Association meetings and Juanita came in with a platter of all different varieties, all cooked table taro, and that was just all the different colors, and that was just amazing. So yeah, she does such a great job, and that's why you too, man. 1+1 = 3, as I said earlier. Wonderful thing. Yeah, we as Mahiai take a bad rap sometimes in this whole process of growing food here on Maui. And I'm so happy, Bobby, that you see farmers as farmers and not conventional organic or in other words we all fall in between living soils and dead soils, and as I like to share, it just depends on which direction you're pointed in your practices. But I don't know of any farmer that wakes up in the morning and goes, okay, now how can I poison people today? People are all farmers are all about the love they have for working the land and growing food. And hey, if they were taught a certain way, like you said earlier, Bobby, making that shift change, as we're juggling working our way to make a living at farming, and somebody comes along and says, hey, I got this great ball I want to put into your juggle. And it's like, that's okay. I'm just trying to make ends meet here. And so it's a real difficult transition. And I know a lot of the work that we've been doing in HFUU is to help support that transition for farmers, because I know I haven't arrived anywhere, and I've been growing organically our food for 27, 28 years now as far as our business goes. And I still get the kind of challenges just think, no more hair for pull out already. But it's like, man, it's just a thing where I just would really like to see having people be more tolerant about farming and support, like you said earlier, Bobby, support the farmer, support the farmer and knowing that they're doing the best that they know how, and to not be so judgmental, because a lot of people, they make it sound really easy, right, Bob? It's kind of like like making a living at farming is just a matter of making a decision to do it, and you do it, right? I don't think so. But yeah, do you have any mana'o you want to share around all that? Just making a living at farming.
Woo. I can tell you one thing. Or find somebody that can teach you, somebody who's been there, so you don't need to make all the mistakes.
Right, right.
That's number one.
Yeah,
Look for somebody who get track record.
that's right.
Look for what, look for, not everybody gonna be a perfect farmer, right? But you look at the farmers around, and use the shopping cart method, grab what you want and leave behind what you don't.
That's right.
As long as you pono, right, in all aspects, then you cannot be doing wrong. My saying is umau ke e o ka ine ke pono, right? Kamehameha III wrote that noeau before it became the state model, right?
Right.
Okay. And I take that literally, because when you break it down, right? Ua mau ke eo o ka aina
Right.
I ka pono. I take that literally. May the life of the land be perpetuated in righteousness. I'm talking about the microbes.
Yep.
I'm talking about healthy soil. And
That's
I
right.
know you can look at our state model and you can say it can be a metaphor, but you can also take it at its literal sense. And as on Mahiai, that's how I take it.
Yes.
That's how I look at our state, what Kamehameha III coined, right? So as on Mahiai, as on Fama, I can relate to that.
Right.
And it means so much more.
That's
from
right.
on Fama, that's what I can relate to. And that's where my role is, That's my part. I found my purpose. I know what it is. And now it's taking it to a greater level, right?
That's right.
It's like truly, like we in the cane lands down there. That lands was dead, bro.
That's
You
right.
know, and I know if you leave land alone, he healed himself. But you can help him along.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and
You
so
know,
we have Kaveve, I'm sorry, were you just jumping in?
yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit to that is,
Please.
I went to one of the KNF workshops that HFUU had put on a few years ago,
Mhm.
and as I see a lot of uh, let's say younger adults coming through my workshops and Bobby working with them, probably be good to if the farmers union would kind of bring that back.
Yeah, it's never really left. I know Ricky and I are right now. We're in thanks to Drake. We just had our strategic planning on the Big Island at Dash, and I saw Dash is on tonight. It's good to see that Dash is on here. Dash, our president of Kohala chapter, we had strategic planning on his farm, and hey Dash, aloha brother, and so we. Drake was there, of course. He's Hawaii president, and I was saying, so Drake, trying to replace mill run of wheat and making our IMO3. I mean, it's been a real challenge. He said, yeah. He said, go to Costco and get pedigree dog food. I said, huh? What? He said, yeah. The protein and the fiber in it makes really good IMO3. He says it's little oily and stuff the first day or two, but then after that it comes real nice. So Ricky Apana and I, we've been working together down at the pit, and so we did a trial, and we did it with coffee parchment. And it came out good. The next time we're going to adjust a little bit. We're going to soak the dog food a little longer to where moisture penetrates all the way through the dog food, and then mix that. The coffee parchment's kind of hydrophobic, and so when you mix the two together like that, it just has enough moisture to turn it into to get the microbial activity at a peak, and be able to have it to where it can make some really nice IMO3. So we're at that next step, and Ricky, he lays down 8-10 inches of biochar, and then we do it on top of the bed of biochar. So we incorporate, as we turn that pile, as it heats up and it needs to be flipped, we incorporate a little bit of biochar each time, so it makes for a really nice IMO3. And then we take that and mix it with soil and let that go for a week, to make it IMO4. And so, yeah, to answer your question, we're still doing it. We're just kind of fine tuning it to where we can have another workshop. We were going to do a workshop through FAM. We were scheduled to do one through FAM, but not many people signed up. Mm-hmm. So, I think some people, it's a little bit too much details for them. They'd rather buy it from somebody, or, I don't know. I just think some of the KNF stuff seems it's kind of hard for people to grasp. And it's something where, as you well know, you have to just do it. And I say to people, the worst thing that can happen when you do it is that you get a really good batch the first time, because then you're hooked. Because you're not going to get good batches all the time, but at the same time, if you have a bad experience the first time and you still go the second time, well, at least you got the commitment. And that's the important thing, is having the commitment level to see it through. And I've been loving the KNF amendments. We're still making all the amendments, and we have them for sale for people if they're interested in getting them. And so it's there, but we want to empower, like Bobby said, we want to empower people to plant and do it them, and grow their own kind of thing and make their own amendments and stuff. But we have them, and yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. I love KNF, that whole process of recycling nutrients back onto the land. And I'm growing an incredible crop of purslane right now on my compost pile. It inoculates itself after a rainstorm. Our farm compost, all the starts come up. And now the purslane's got to be about 8 to 10 inches tall. Wait till it gets about 16 inches, and I'll make fermented plant juice. And so it's a beautiful thing, beautiful thing. And plus, it covers the compost pile, so it keeps the compost pile, keeps the moisture in there. It doesn't dry out, keeps it cool. There's so many beautiful things about regenerative agriculture. I could go on and on, but this is about Haloa tonight. We're almost at the place to where we have to stop talking. So let me zip it and go back to you gentlemen, because like yourselves, I could go all night about this kind of stuff, but I want to hear more about taro. Folks came tonight to hear about taro. So please, any other thoughts, and coming to a full circle about this conversation tonight?
Well, just one little snippet about the life cycle or the growth cycle of the kalo. I live in Kula, so I just noticed that at my house, the grow time is longer than when I used to live in Pukalani.
Right.
In that elevation difference.
Right.
And it just goes back to what Bobby was saying. It just really depends on variety and conditions and elevations and stuff like that. So,
right.
But it's all about the kilo, right? It's all about spending some time there and getting to know your surroundings and what your particular growth cycle is in your neck of the woods, if you will.
That's right.
And that might take some time. It might take a few years, a few cycles to kind of get a grasp or a handle on it. So just wanted to just kind of.
That's beautiful. Yeah. No. Right. That's right. Bobby.
No, because I just I'm telling I just gotta make favorable conditions, and this thing gonna grow good. But sometimes the bloody kalo just no like growing that. 5 years I've been trying to acclimate this one variety. Still yet giving me hard times.
And what variety is trying to acclimate?
Throw him out the door. He going out the door. He here.
Bobby, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. I want to hear that. I want to hear that. You kind of went in and out. So you were talking about throw it out the door. In other words, hey man, you're not gonna. Uncle Harry used to do it with his sickle. He would put the sickle onto the taro. He'd tell you feel the metal. He'd say, "You feel the metal."
No, but some varieties just don't belong there.
Right.
They're trying to let you know, and the ones that belong there, they let you know.
Right.
I'm the guy.
Well, Dash has a question. There's some questions that are coming in the chat, and I got to get glasses on that I could actually read it here. So one of the questions is, how do you folks prep your field and soil for planting? How for mala, and how for the lo'i? Do you guys ever plant straight back into the same area? If so, what do you amend with, or always follow with, or do you always fallow in between crops? Anybody want
to? I personally always fallow.
Mm-hmm.
In Hawaiian literature, they say that our kupuna used to plant 2 crops, successive crops. Now, I believe you could do that if your soil was receptive. In today's practices, you go to one place and you grow the kalo, big kalo, and then you grow them again in the same place. Hey, what happened? The thing will come out as big.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to remember that every plant extracts a certain element from that soil that no other plant extracts. And what happens is, you got to think of nature, right? Like the plant absorbs nutrients, it takes it into its system, and it dies back. And it puts the nutrients right back from where it came from. So the plant produces its own fertilizer.
Right.
If you allow it to, right? But successive crops, I wouldn't do that. I don't, because, like I got plenty land, so I don't need. I can just
Right.
move to another place. But I would say if I was in a limited spot, then of course you definitely would want to amend. And I would definitely amend the soil.
So, like what you did up top Malka, the highway, when we planted that you planted that tropical sun hemp, and we rolled and crimped it, and that biomass was such that we just planted in that biomass as a natural weed mat. Alley cropping something like that would be kind of cool, right? 6 foot of growing the cover crop, roll and crimp it, plant the taro, and then in between you let the sides continue to grow to seed. Harvest the seed, then you knock all that lignin down and you plant your next crop in there. In other words, just to be able to do a sequence is a vision of being able to fallow like you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I'm working on now, Vince, is what we're doing, because I have other farmers over there that they raise livestock, sheep and goat. So what is the ideals? And when we go down there for the convention, I can show you guys what we're doing down there. But it's ideal because now what I'm doing is I'm setting up all my fields with irrigation, with overhead actually.
Nice.
We're putting in all the wind breaks, but we have the goats that rotate right behind us.
Beautiful.
So we and plus we're not plowing.
Right.
So we always have living root there.
Love it.
With the animals, with moisture.
Right.
Right. And I'm really being a strong believer in the biodiversity.
Yes.
You're talking about alley cropping. What's working well over here as we observe is, of course, we use a cane grass because you know how windy where we are.
Yes.
So you got to mitigate the wind. So we use that one cane grass, which is really good because it doesn't fold over. Right. And then we're planting the pigeon peas all on the inside, chop and drop, and it helps hold up the cane. And vetiver, it's just more the merrier.
That's right.
So if it depends on how you set up your system, right? Like for me and my fields, I can set up systems that's kind of long standing.
Yes.
So you don't have to keep on growing stuff over and over again so you can have those nice alleys that are protected from the wind.
Yes.
So you can remove that stress. But shucks, Dash, I hope I answered your question, but I would definitely amend if I had, if I didn't have any place else to plant. I know our kupuna did it twice, but I believe in back then, because of their practices, I think the soils really were that rich where they could.
Right.
And, if you use good practices, I think, like Ginger John said, right? His mantra is mulch, 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 and more mulch. And I'm finding out that's true.
Yep.
It is true because I have mulch around certain ulu trees, like a lot of mulch, and you can see the difference. Big difference.
Right.
Real big.
And that feeding the microbes so critical in that spirit.
And protecting them.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Keeping that moisture level there. That top 7 inches is so critical. Managing that top 7 inches where all aerobic life lives. Bobby, I as we get close to ending this tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about the convention, and you had mentioned it, and let folks know, we have a proposal into the county to be able to pivot, because unfortunately we're not going to be able to do the convention that we had hoped for on your farm this year. Man, we had some beautiful things planned for that, but yet, you have cover crops planted. And what we're planning on doing is bringing all our leadership in from all our chapters. So all our chapter presidents will be here, and we'll stay at a retreat center in Huelo. And then on they'll arrive on the 3rd of November. It's going to be from the 3rd of November to the 7th of November. We changed the dates a week earlier because we couldn't get that retreat center for the dates we had before. But then the 4th, 5th, and the 6th, what we're proposing to do is that we're going to have a breakfast presentation virtually, and we're going to have experts from the mainland. One of the experts is Dan Kittredge from the East Coast, who developed the bionutrient meter, and it's measuring its bioflavonoids, antioxidants, and crop index, and on the path to getting an actual nutrient density meter that will test all nutrient density of the plant. So this is really exciting. He'll do a presentation on one of those days. And then Jeff Moyer from the Rodale Institute, that is the father of the roller crimper, get him to also do a presentation. And then after the breakfast session on those 3 days, we're going to travel to 2 farms each day. One day will be your farm and my farm. And then another day where we have 4 other farms up country area that we're planning. We just have to confirm that's where, because we need the bandwidth. We're going to be doing live stream on those farms. So we're going to have all our leaders together, on the farm, being live streamed, talking story, kind of like what we're doing now in the sense about observing what we're seeing and what our experience is and in our farms and such, that where we can just kind of cross-pollinate with one another as Mahi'ai. And then after that experience on the farm, those 2 farms, go back to the retreat center, get on Zoom, and have all the other participants from the convention be there to ask questions and to have answers and just talk story of what we saw that day. And then do that for 3 days. And then we end up on the Sunday with the business of the organization. Our vice president is up for election, and anyone else who feels that they want to run for that position is there. And that's going to be our convention this year, the plan. So all we have to do is get the approval for the county to use the county funds that they have earmarked for the convention for that, and we're hopeful that will in fact take place. So that's just to give everybody a little bit of background on that. And Kaveve, man, brother, your work, Bobby, both you guys, I just so appreciate. I said this earlier, and I value you as brothers, Mahi'ai brothers, and just brothers of different mothers, but man, brothers nonetheless. And I just feel so honored and fortunate to have you in my life and to know you as Mahi'ais and just lovers of agriculture. So I want to just really thank you from the bottom of my heart to be on tonight. It was a lot of fun. I had a blast. Hope you guys did too, and hope everybody that stayed on. I mean, this big crew was on tonight to listen to you folks. So, take that to heart, because the work that you're doing is really valued in the community. Please give us a closing comment of anything you want to share about for the folks out there who are listening in.
I give one closing comment real quick. As you know, Mauna Kea in partnership with Haleakala chapter, we're building the Haleku'i, right?
Yes.
And actually, we're going to have a work day this Saturday. We're going to do some work done.
Right. That's right.
But what I'm saying is, remember Kaveve was saying that, the sound of ku'i should be a common sound in the households around Hawaii. And, that's why it's interesting that we have Kaveve on and myself, and, because we're going to do this Haleku'i, right? But, I got to work with Kaveve because we got to make plenty pods.
Yeah.
Right? But,
right.
but you know what I mean? This is how we're going to cooperate. But this is going to be one place where everybody from our community can come. You can bring your pohaku and your papa if you get. If not, hopefully we'll have some to provide for you. And you can come down there. The kalo going to be grown right there. We're going to cook them right there. And we're going to ku'i them right there.
Yeah,
and
baby.
You can take them home. But the most beautiful thing I wanted to say is that when we get 10, 20, 30, 40 guys ku'iing at the hale, right? That sound of 40 boards pounding, that sound going up in the valleys in Waikapu,
There you go.
right? And that's the one our kupuna is waiting for.
There you
They're
go.
waiting to hear the sound of the kui. And that's going to happen. That's going to happen at Lakaya.
I hear that, brother. Your vision is clear as a bell, and I'm so happy that you hold that vision close to your heart because I can see it. And thank you for communicating it in that way. Kaveve, please.
Hey, mahalo, Vince, for having me this evening. And, you know, we just saw one foot in front of the other, and we just keep moving forward. And we're going to get there. We're going to have that Haleku, we're going to have all of that stuff, you know, rolling and getting people excited. You know, if they don't have their own board and stone, they're going to want one.
There you go.
Want one so they can do it, you know, right at their home. So much times, people who have been in our workshops have come and said, "Oh, my cousin or my auntie guy is all happy because now we have one in our family." You know, so it's been like Bobby said earlier, you know, gone for so long, but now, you know, it's once again caring for our families and even our extended family. So thank you for having me on tonight, and thank you for all the stuff you guys are doing. You know, all of us in this chat room. So mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
Whew, you know, thank you so much, gentlemen, and again, everyone that came tonight. Thank you for hanging in there, and you know, we want to have this virtual world more interactive, and we're hoping that that's what we'll create at our convention. So stay tuned for that. And again, brothers, we'll be talking to you soon. And Imua, all the best to you and your families. And we'll just continue to do, man.
No, bro.
Warmest aloha to you all. Thank you.
Katie, mahalo, everybody.
Aloha.
Hui ho.
Hui ho.
Thank you, everybody. Good to see you, Vince. Hey. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you for this great meeting.
Oh my God. I thank Kana too for proving the use of his music tonight. Love his music. Katie, thank you for everything tonight.
Of course. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. I don't know.
All good. All good. We'll see you in Hana.
Yes. See you this weekend.
Come on, Peter, Barbara, Adam, David, you guys take good care. Hello, everybody.
Oh,
All righty. Good night now. Take care. Aloha.